Every time I hear the phrase alternative facts, I think of the pictures of the inauguration where you have, on the one hand, an enormous crowd, and on the other hand, a not so enormous crowd, a crowd that might be described as not tremendous. So part of my question is, how can it be that an alternative fact like this inauguration is bigger than the other could ever be considered by the American public? Today we're going to figure that out using philosophy. We're going to do some real philosophy, talk about issues that actually matter, but in a way that hopefully doesn't involve as many isms as you're used to. So what's the problem? The problem that comes to mind is something called relativism, which is the belief that your morality and your truth depends on your perspective, or as it was famously put,
from my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
So relativism actually has a lot of uses, because what is really good about relativism is it has allowed our society to exist the way that it is. You can believe in Allah, I can believe in Jesus, you can believe in veganism, and I can believe in bacon, and we're all gonna be good. But the problem is that way of thinking doesn't entirely lead to a perfectly useful path. So the problem of relativism has existed for a long time, and people have been wondering, how can you possibly solve this problem? The American pragmatist response is, sure, we don't really know what truth is, but we can stick stuff to walls if we want. Let's look at an example. Say you've got a flyer you want to stick to the wall. The American pragmatists say you have a tack if what you do is you stick that thing to the wall and it stays on the wall. Now it's hard, and what you can do is you can put sticky tack on it, or you can stick it with a tack, I don't know, get a pencil or something and a hammer and ram the thing into the wall and it might work. The truth is what works. What matters to the pragmatist is whether or not the piece of paper stays up on the wall. That's what it means. The truth is what works. If you're sticking something to the wall and it falls down, it's not a tack. If you stick something to the wall and it does stay up, then yeah, congratulations, you have a tack. So the pragmatists respond to relativism by saying, look, we may never be able to answer these complicated questions of what's really true and what's actually the deep reality underneath it all, but on some level, we can learn something because we can decide what works and what doesn't work just by using our eyes and seeing if stuff falls off walls. Whenever I hear the phrase alternative facts, I think of the two photos in the inauguration. The one with the enormous crowd on one side and the other with the big but a lot smaller crowd on the other side.
So we know now that this is because of relativism, the belief that reality itself can be warped by your own perspective, by your own individual point of view.
One of the greatest things about our country is our relativistic pluralism. Being able to learn from, live around, and tolerate each other is core to our identity as a country. But if you're the president, if you work in government and your job is to design a system that works for everyone, and you design a system that only works for a few, at best, that's a misapplication of relativism. And at worst, building a system in which you get to be ignorant to the problems of others is the definition of privilege. Not working doesn't mean papers falling off the wall. It means millions of people not having health care, people not having access to education, people not having access to the basic things that they need to survive. And in any system that I can think of, that doesn't work.
You should have spent that $3,800 on that car. I told you. That motor's good.